Hey everybody, it's Angie and welcome to Hot and Flashy. Today I'm going to do a review of the new foundation from IT Cosmetics. It's the IT-02 Ultra Repair Liquid Oxygen Foundation. It comes in this airtight tube, okay, and this one I got is in the color Light. You know, I've been on the hunt for my Holy Grail foundation for over a year now. And while I have found some things that I really like, I don't think I've found a liquid that is perfect for me yet. So when I saw that it came out with a new foundation that promised to be like a anti-aging facial in a bottle, I said, oh my gosh, this is going to be it. This is going to be the Holy Grail of liquid foundations for me. Unfortunately, it was not meant to be. So this one is kind of a miss for me, and I'm so disappointed because, as you know, I love IT products. They send me a lot of products to show to you, and most of them I can recommend wholeheartedly, because I give you my honest opinion about them. And it's not that I want you to run out and buy everything I talk about, but if you need a certain product and they have a solution for you, it's a good company and I like to support them. So anyway, this one I asked them if I could try it, and they sent me this for free, which does not necessarily mean that I have to give it a good review. There's no contract between us. All right, so let's get started. I took a video of myself applying it for the very first time to show you how it applies. Now, the other thing that they sent me, oh shoot, I don't have it here, is their Beauty Blender type sponge to put it on with. And this sponge is way bigger than other sponges. You'll see it in the application video. First, let me just tell you about the price and its claims, and as always, the glasses for this. All right, so it's IT-02 Ultra Repair Liquid Oxygen Foundation. It comes in 5 shades, and it's 1 ounce for $38. It claims that it is like a facial in a bottle in a foundation, that it is sheer buildable coverage that you can build up to full coverage, that leaves skin with a dewy glow, clinically proven to improve barrier repair and increase hydration by over 71% after the first use. And it's packed with antioxidants and vitamins A, C, and E. So those are its claims. Let's go to the video and I'll show you me putting it on for the very first time. That's their sponge. This is it fully inflated, so it's quite big. So let's go ahead and put it on. The directions for this say to put about a dime size amount on the back of your hand. Flatten that out, that would become a dime. So I'm just going to dab it in there. And you kind of do a rolling, patting motion with this. It is fragrance free, which I really like. I hate anything that smells. Okay, so the first pass with one pump, it did sort of the center of my face, but I didn't have enough to do the outsides or down my neck. I'm going to come in a little closer. Okay, so far it seems to be kind of medium coverage. So that amount did medium coverage, but you can still see some of my spots through it, but I feel like it's evened out my skin tone, so I'm just going to use another half pump, about that much, to do the rest. I like this sponge a lot. It's nice and big, especially for the big planes. And of course the sponge will make the makeup go on more sheer than if you put it on with a brush or with your fingers. And I like more of a sheer look. And then I want to just take a tiny bit more, whoops, to get in my little cracks and crevices with the pointy end. So just put that much more on my hand, and I'm just going to dip into there with this pointy end so that I can get, I always end up with a funny little line around my nostrils that I don't quite get enough coverage on. And then where it just needs a little more coverage, I'm just going to build a little bit more up over here. Might have to do some concealer over that. All right, I went and I hit this little area again, and it really isn't covering very well. You definitely need to use a concealer with it. Unfortunately, I don't have one down here, so I'm going to have to do that later. For the first impressions, it felt like really lightweight, almost almost moussey the way it came out, not quite that air whipped up, but like a little more liquidy than that. So not really thick and creamy, which is great. So it spreads really evenly, blends really smoothly. I like how it blends. And for the coverage, it's like medium to light coverage, which is great for me. I don't really want anything that's full coverage, and I would prefer to just put on a little extra concealer in the spots that I need it. Now this does have kind of a dewy finish. If I just move my face, you can see the sheen. It's not overly shiny. It's not overly dewy. I feel like I could wear this just fine. It says that if you want to mattify it a little bit, to use the IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Pores, which I have. Before we do that, let's quickly come in and look at the pores and see how it did. I have the Lorac I'm So Sensitive primer on under this. So let me just take a look. It's a very fresh and youthful looking foundation, and it's supposed to be very moisturizing. So where my skin has been so dry lately, I really am hoping that it is moisturizing, and as usual I will wear it all day to let you know if it is as moisturizing as it promises to be. Alright, so as usual, I wore that all day. Now where I only had this one to test and I wanted it to work well, I wore it 3 or 4 different days, and I did different application methods because as you could see in that one, I could not get it to be beyond medium coverage to full as it claimed. It was very sheer, I felt, even though I kept saying medium. So I tried it again using Smashbox primer, Smashbox Light. I put that on underneath and I used a flat top like stippling brush to apply it. That got much fuller coverage and it looked good. Then I wore it a third time. I used a different blending sponge, and with that one it went on less sheer and a little more opaque. You could build it up to medium, closer to full coverage. So I have worn this one a number of times with primer under it, without primer under it, with a setting powder over it, without a setting powder over it. So I've vetted this and tried it a number of different ways, which I usually don't do. Usually if it doesn't look good after one wearing, I'm like, why should I bother putting this on again? Because it's not going to look good and I don't want to walk around a whole second day with it not looking good. But I did this one a number of days. I feel like I'm giving it preferential treatment, but why not? They're nice to me. It applies really easily with a brush or with a sponge or with your fingers. It blends really smoothly. And I gotta say, it looked really good for the first like 4 hours. It's a very dewy finish, so it's a little shiny for me, so I felt like I did have to put some kind of setting powder over the top. Then it would look really good. And actually, here's a video that I made where I'm wearing it. I'm not wearing it today. Sorry, I usually wear it when I make the video, but I'm not wearing it today. I'm trying something else. And so here's a video on a day that I did wear it, and this was about 4 or 5 hours in, and you can see that it really did look good. The problem comes in later in the day. So the problem with it is that it did not make my skin 71% more hydrated after the first use. In fact, I felt like it made my skin look and feel 71% less hydrated after the first use. And that was the real disappointing part for me, where, you know, it's one thing if it's a foundation that just claims to be a foundation, but where this one says it's going to hydrate and then instead it was a dry, flaky mess by the end of the day and my skin was itchy, then that's no good. So by the end of the day, it did not look good. When I wore it with a primer, it lasted quite a bit longer. It lasted more like 8 to 10 hours, but without a primer, it was pretty much worn off completely after like 7 to 8 hours. So let me bring in the pictures, and here in these pictures, like, okay, the full face one, I think you can see how much it's worn off because you can see my pimples again and everything. And then if you look at this close-up of my nose, you can see how it's like really weird and flaky and worn off, and it's caused all these flakes. And I have another one of my chin here where, you know, hopefully this is close enough. You can see it's flaky on the chin as well. So really something that says it's going to be moisturizing should not be extra super drying. So that's my assessment of the IT-02 foundation. I am terribly disappointed and terribly sad to have to come on and tell you that it just didn't work for me. Let me know if you've had luck with it and if you find it to be super hydrating. I would love to know. For me, you know, and I wore it multiple times, each time it didn't matter. Primer, no primer, sponge, brush, fingers, it really didn't matter. It went on about the same every time. It looked good for about the same amount of time, and then it looked bad later in the day. Sorry, but this one was a miss for me, but I do still love a lot of your other products. And thanks for sending it. So that's it for today, everybody. Take care, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.